Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's Virtual Science Cafe, engaging students with ethnic crops and sustainable agriculture. Dr. Albert Ayeni from our plant biology department is going to be our presenter this morning. My name is Brian McGonigal. I am the manager of alumni and community engagement for SEBS and the Agricultural Experiment Station. Right now, I would like to introduce Dr. Mary Nucci. She is the director of the Science Cafe series and also a professor of human ecology. Mary, take it away.
Thank you, Brian, and good morning, everyone, and welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your spring break, and we look forward to and are looking forward to finishing out the semester on a good note. So I'm very happy to introduce our guest speaker today, our speaker for the Science Cafe, Dr. Albert Ayeni. He is an ethnic crops research specialist in the Department of Plant Biology here at Rutgers, and Albert is going to be talking about engaging students with ethnic crops and sustainable agriculture. So Albert, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Mary, and thank you also, Brian, for making this possible. I'm particularly grateful for the effort you have put into making sure that we don't run into any technical problems during this presentation, and I hope we don't. So welcome, everyone. As has been introduced, my name is Albert Ayeni. I'm an ethnic crop specialist in the Department of Plant Biology. And what I want to share very briefly this morning is what we have been doing with ethnic crops in the Department of Plant Biology, and having students get exposed to this, what we call new crops to the United States. Ethnic crops are crops that were introduced to the US from the tropical areas, especially in Africa, the Caribbean, South America, Central America, and Asian countries, the tropical world. So I will be looking at those crops, and this is what we want to try to cover. Why ethnic crops? Why is Rutgers interested in this? And some of the work we have done collectively as a large group on the East Coast. Our work on ethnic crops at Rutgers University, and my own work on other ethnic crops. And then I will spend probably more time on internships in production and entrepreneurship agriculture. This is where we have involved our students quite significantly in learning what about these crops, how to grow them, and also how to take them to the marketplace. So, and I would summarize what the coverage in the seminar, and then conclude. So please, I'm going to rush through some of the first few slides so that I can have more time to talk about internships in production and entrepreneurship agriculture. So why ethnic crops? We are a land-grant university at Rutgers, and we have responsibility to develop production, marketing packages in agriculture that will suit the needs of our community. And the demographic changes in New Jersey in recent times has been quite profound. Between 1995 and 2021, the move in the population of ethnic nationalities in our state has changed from about 25% in 1995 to currently about 36%. It is projected that by 2042, the minority population in our nation will be about 50.1% of total. So at Rutgers, we have to keep looking at these demographic changes and target our production efforts, our support efforts towards production, agriculture, and food to meet the needs of this changing demographic. We also know that New Jersey's environment will support ethnic crop production based on what we have done over the past 2 decades. And we know that if we're able to integrate these new crops into our agricultural economy, we will enhance our food security and also enhance our economy. So this is what has been guiding our work on ethnic crops in the Department of Plant Biology, and by extension, School of Environmental and Biological Sciences. So our state, New Jersey, is the third most ethnically diverse in the country, after California and New York. The current white non-Hispanic population is about 58%. Hispanic is 18%. Black African American, it's about 13%. The Asian population is currently about 8 to 9%. And then other ethnic nationalities from other parts of the world constituting about 3%. The fastest growing of all these ethnic populations are the Hispanic, Latino, and the Asian. And we are very conscious of this in our own understanding of our demographic in the state. So we try to see how we can produce those crops that will respond to the interests and needs of this changing demographic. So bringing it back home to Middlesex County, where Rutgers is located, the white population is about 42.5%. Asian is about 25% and growing. Hispanic Latino is about 21%, and Black African American is about 9%. Other populations, about 2%. This is as at 2017, and it is changing. The Hispanic, Latino, and the Asian populations are those that are changing probably faster than any of the other ethnic nationalities. So in the Middlesex, to go a little bit deeper, the ethnic growth is highest in suburban Middlesex County. So Rutgers is located in a place where a lot of changes are going on as far as ethnic population is concerned, and we are interested in looking at all of these ethnic diversities. So more details on that, but the important thing about what is happening in Middlesex County is that the dynamics is quite significant in population changes, and Rutgers is trying to respond to the needs of this new population dynamics that we are experiencing. So our work on ethnic crops on the East Coast, getting to about 20 years ago now, we formed a group of scientists and staff who are interested in ethnic crops along the East Coast, between University of Massachusetts in the Northeast, Rutgers, Northeast, University of Florida, and the University of Pennsylvania. All of us came together to form a group of people who are interested in looking at the ethnic crops. And over the years, we have been working together, and to a point in 2018, our group was given a Team Excellence Award on looking at the ethnic crop situation. Our group comprises of 26 faculty and graduate students from Rutgers University, University of Florida, University of Massachusetts, Penn State University, and Cornell. And together we have earned some grants in excess of $2.3 million over the years, and several publications have been produced as a result of that. So Rutgers is a major center for ethnic crop research and production over the years. So some of the work that we have done at Rutgers, which is exclusive to our university, about 5 of us came together in our school, myself, Professor Tom Orton, some of you might know him, and Jim Simon. Martin Zod is one of the graduate students who work with us, and William Reichert graduated, I think, about a year ago. So we have all worked together on the most prominent ethnic crop that we have identified, which I'm going to speak about very briefly. Exotic peppers, or ethnic peppers as some people would like to call them, happens to be the lead among the various ethnic crops that we have examined over the years. Why exotic peppers? We now know that not just in New Jersey, but throughout the country, the exotic pepper content of our diet is rising quite rapidly. These peppers are now found in hot pepper sauces, candies, snacks of all types. They are also used as, this is a snack that some of us might be familiar with, M&M, very popular. There's ghost pepper candy, jalapeno candy, and habanero covered with chocolate and other types of sweet materials. And then the hot sauce industry is also growing, and they use a lot of exotic peppers. And then the essential oils from a seed of exotic peppers is also something that is becoming quite prominent in the country. So the demand for this crop, for these peppers, is something that has been increasing in recent times. So we started our work on ethnic peppers with 45 selections collected from farms in New Jersey in 2009. And the habanero soon became the top on our priority list due to the potential of this type of peppers in the fresh and in the fresh market and in the hot sauce market. So by 2017, some of you might have heard about our Rutgers Pumpkin Habanero. We were able to release this particular habanero after working with it for about since 2009, 2010. We released it in 2017. Rutgers Pumpkin Habanero is a cross between African and Mexican habaneros. It's known to have very low heat, which fits very well into our population. In New Jersey, not many people like extra hot peppers. So we developed this with that in mind, that we want something, a habanero that will have all the good properties of habanero pepper, but not too much heat, so that many more people will be able to patronize that kind of pepper. This pepper is good, great flavor, pumpkin shape, comes in yellow, orange, or red color. We'll see some samples later on. So I won't spend too much time on all of these histograms, but we just want to show very briefly what are the characteristics of the peppers that we have been working on, the habanero peppers especially. On the basis of fruit weight per plant, the one we released in 2017, that is the pumpkin habanero, happened to have probably the highest number of fruit. It carries a lot of fruit. And then the weight per fruit, it is medium size fruit. There are others that have relatively larger fruit size. And then on the basis of total fruit yield per plant, our Rutgers Pumpkin Habanero is also very, very high, probably next to one of the other habaneros that we are still working on. We haven't released F yet because there are some other issues we are still looking at. But Pumpkin Habanero is a very, very nice pepper that we release to the public. And then something that is of interest to us in these peppers is how do they keep? The grower would like to know how quickly the pepper would rot. A pepper that rots very quickly is likely not to fit into his program. He wants the pepper to stay firm and maintain its integrity for a relatively long time. So that was of interest to us. And of all the habaneros that we were looking at, I think it is only one of them wouldn't be satisfactory in terms of for how long does the fruit stay with full integrity on the plant before it is harvested. And then after harvesting, the fruit shelf life in weeks, practically all of them will stay long enough if you are able to store them at 4 degrees centigrade, which is about 45, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. At room temperature, there are some of them that may not be able to last more than 2 weeks, and a couple of them can last for up to 3 weeks after harvesting them without going bad. So these are qualities that we believe would help us to better recommend these habaneros to our growers. Now, looking at the chemistry of the peppers, capsaicinoids are directly related to the amount of heat that is in the pepper. And in our habaneros, we found that on average, all of them have a relatively high heat level based on the capsaicinoid or hydroxy or hydrocapsaicinoid content of the fruit. Quite a number of them have a high capsaicinoid, which means they are hot. Those with relatively low values are not quite as hot as the others. So we are able to look at the quality of the fruit that the habaneros produce. And then there is also another measure of heat, which is much more practical than having to do lab analysis to determine exactly what level of heat-producing chemicals are in the fruit. And the Scoville heat units is a very practical way of determining how hot a pepper is and how pungent the pepper is. And the one that we have released, the pumpkin habanero, has relatively low heat. There's another one here which we are planning to release soon, right? A little bit more than pumpkin habanero, but not quite as severe as these other peppers. So we know that most of these ones that are very hot may not easily have a customer level that will ask for them, because not many people, especially in the fresh market, may not want to get something that hot. But we are concentrating more on those ones with relatively low heat, because in the fresh market, they will have a very good customer base. But in the hot sauce industry, the ones with high heat are quite attractive. So we are not leaving them out of our development efforts. Some are targeted towards the fresh market, and some are targeted towards the hot sauce market. So other chemical characteristics of our peppers, the habanero selections are very rich in nitrogen and potassium, and many of them contain reasonable levels of phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. All of these are nutrients that are very desirable in our system, and the peppers contain substantial amount of them. Looking at micronutrients, the iron content this is what I actually want to stress in this slide. We have two types of peppers that have a relatively high level of iron in them. Iron is an element that is highly deficient in humans generally all over the world. And if you have a crop that is able to to generate a lot of iron in it, it should be desirable to be integrated into our diet so that we can use that as a source of iron in our system. Now, what is unique to these two peppers, the YH3, that is Rutgers pumpkin habanero, and another yellow pepper, is that they are the ones with the highest level of iron. And we want to look at why they have a higher iron content than the others. Does this have to do with the yellow color or some other factors that are unique to these peppers? They also seem to have a relatively high zinc level too. So we are interested in the potential for delivery of micronutrients, which is very exciting to us in our peppers. And then in other studies that we did, we looked at the peppers under organic condition and under conventional production conditions. We compared our habaneros with the extra hot peppers, the super hot peppers, like Carolina Reaper and the Budgelokia and the Trinidad Scorpion. These are the peppers. I don't want to bother you with the details of what all of these are, but all of these labeled peppers here are the extra hot, super hot. These are not for anyone that is not familiar with them to play around with them. They are very, very hot, but we have them in our germplasm, and the people in the companies that are producing hot sauces are interested in them much more now than ever before. So based on what we have done to date, we can classify our habanero peppers into three groups. The mild habaneros, those ones that have less than what we call 50,000 Scoville heat units, especially the Rutgers pumpkin habanero belongs to that group. There's another one in the pipeline that also belongs to this group with some other very unique production qualities. And then the hot habaneros are those ones between 50,000 K and 500,000 K heat units. 500 K heat units. And then the super hot habaneros have a heat level that is much more than 500,000 Scoville heat units. So these are the three classes of habaneros that we now have in our germplasm collection, all of them serving different purposes in our community. So the pumpkin habanero that we released in 2017, this is what it looks like. Some of you might have seen it. It's very attractive on the market. We have many growers that keep on asking us for seed year after year, even though we told them that they can keep their seed and plant the following year, but they don't have enough. They always come back to us to get more. So this is what it looks like. It's a beautiful pepper, low heat. There is no heat in the flesh, but the heat is located in the seed and the placenta. So if you can just concentrate on eating the flesh, you would enjoy the tangerine flavor, no heat at all. And then you can eat as much of it as possible as a snack. So there are some selections in the pipeline. Roselle red habanero is another one that we've filed an application for plant variety patent on it, PVP. It's been processed, and hopefully in another few months, the application should be accepted, and we can now freely make it available to the public. This is another pepper that we are developing. This is no heat at all. We are preliminary, temporarily calling it Rutgers honey. It's a sweet pepper, no heat at all. Very, very good for snacking. Now in the market, our peppers, the habaneros, are competing very, very well with the standard habaneros on the market. Scotch bonnet, many of you may be familiar with it. We are comparing our peppers, the Rutgers pumpkin habanero, and the mixture of our habanero peppers with the Scotch bonnet. And they are moving very well, very, very well. We have a very good market for all of our habaneros. Then in addition to just producing them fresh for the market, we are also looking at processing them into hot sauces, and we are working with a private company that is into hot sauce production. And here, some of our habaneros have been processed into hot sauces, and they were evaluated. All of them were found to be of very, very high quality. We are working with the Rutgers dining services, and through them, we are able to get students to partake in tasting them and then giving us a feedback. This is Rutgers pumpkin habanero. It's one of the top ones, but the problem is not many people are familiar with yellow hot sauce. So that is probably still a drawback, but we believe that we can overcome this the color problem, because we are now developing a red Rutgers pumpkin habanero, which will produce a red hot sauce. So, and late last year, October 12, 2020, we released another hot sauce from our pepper line, which is a collaboration with the Rutgers Dining Service. This hot sauce was released last October, and Rutgers Dining Services actually has this on the shelf in one of the markets where they sell the hot sauce. So our peppers are now known to be very, very good for making a hot sauce. So as a result of some of the work we've been doing on our peppers, the Rutgers Department of Communications came to interview us in the field in 2018 to learn more about our peppers. Here I was interviewed. When you have the time, you can just type in "Meet the Real Dr. Pepper," and you will see a 2-3 minute video clip on this particular experience we have. So the other ethnic crops that we have been looking at, apart from peppers, we have looked at Roselle. Roselle is a vegetable where the leaves are very prominent in certain cultures. The fruit very prominent in some other cultures. In Asian countries, the leaves are probably the most important part of the plant. They harvest and use it for vegetable. And then in Africa and the Caribbean, and maybe some parts of South America, it is the fruit that people love. They make it into different kinds of condiments. The taste is excellent. This is what Roselle looks like in the field. We have 4 different types that we are showing here. Some of them are short, some of them are tall plants. These are the ones that we have been concentrating on in our work at Rutgers, because they are more acceptable on the leaf market than the other ones that we are yet to present to the people to appreciate their quality as well. So Rutgers Scarlet, Roselle is a cross between African green and Indian red. And we are monitoring it to see if at some point we can release it as another line of Roselle that can have some substantial market. The Roselle plants produce very beautiful flowers. So in addition to serving as a food source, you can also use them to decorate your surrounding, your homes. The flowers are very beautiful at the time they flower. Unfortunately, we cannot produce them to flower under field conditions in New Jersey because they respond to day length. And by the time the day length is getting short enough to stimulate flowering, we have the fall season coming in. The temperature drops, and they are very, very sensitive to cold temperature. So outside, they will be killed before the flowers fully develop. But inside the greenhouse, we can grow them to produce the flowers. This is what their fruits look like. The green, the African green, the Indian green, the African red, the Indian red, and the African red. So different types, and all of them have their very unique qualities for food, for fiber, and for other uses. In the greenhouse and hoop house, we have compared their growth, and we find that the Roselle is very sensitive to light intensity. In the hoop house, there wasn't sufficient light, so the growth was reduced. But in the typical greenhouse, the lighting system was excellent, and the plant grew much better, both for fruit and for vegetable production. So talking about the utilization of the fruit, there was a conference I attended where I found somebody brought the cheesecake that was garnished with Roselle calyx. And here we are. I tasted some of these calyx. Oh, it was delicious. I liked it. And we can also get baby Roselle as a part of what we can produce and take to the market. This is young Roselle plant. And with Rutgers Dining Services, we have looked at it as a plant with is very nutrient dense and can serve as a salad component, or we can use it as in smoothies. In fact, the dining service at Rutgers has used this, and they love it. So the other crop that I've looked at is tropical spinach, which is becoming quite significant in America now. This is a crop, a vegetable that is very popular in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, for different purposes. In tropical Africa and Asia, it is important for the leaf. In Latin America, they love the grain. The grain, the quality of the grain in Bolivia, the grain is actually rated higher than quinoa. Those of you who are familiar with quinoa, it's a very good protein source. It's a pseudo cereal, which is becoming more and more popular in ethnic markets throughout the United States. So the plant, tropical spinach is rich nutritionally, and has some health values that could be of great advantage to us. As a summer crop, we can use it to complement the regular spinach, which is a cool season crop. Also, the influx of ethnic nationalities from the tropics into the mid-Atlantic is an incentive for growers to explore the growing market opportunities in this part of the country. So our objective with tropical spinach is to determine the adaptation to our agro ecosystems and marketability in the Brunswick area. And we are very, very happy with what we have seen so far. We are exploring growing it in the field and also producing it in the greenhouse. This is one of our interns that was harvesting red leaf. The Indians will call it red leaf. Other people will just call it tropical spinach. And the student had a very, very nice experience growing this particular one. It sold more in the market. The greenhouse grown tropical spinach sells for more money than the one grown in the field, based on our experience in New Brunswick area. While the one grown in the field goes for about $1.50 per pound, $2, it goes for $2.50 per pound if it is grown in the greenhouse in New Brunswick area. So growers can make money growing spinach. We have also tried it under hydroponic conditions in the greenhouse, and the plant grows pretty well under greenhouse conditions. This is what the leaf looks like. The variegated type and the green type, they all grow very, very well under hydroponic conditions. Then we are, as I said, we are also trying amaranth, and we are trying tropical spinach for grain. And we have different types of amaranths or tropical spinach in our collection that we are evaluating for the grain content. Micrograin from tropical spinach is also highly valued by our Rutgers dining services, and we have grown some of them for the dining service. Okra, I'm sure many of you are familiar with okra. That is another crop we have been working with for some time. We now have the long green, the long red, and the short red, and lady's finger. The long red is a combination, a cross between the long green and the short red. The short red is African okra. The long green is Indian okra. And a cross between the two gave us the long red. And we are going to be calling this the Rutgers scarlet okra, or the American okra. So this is African okra, and this is Indian okra. Now with the cross between the African and the Indian, we are now giving ourselves the American okra, or the long red okra. This is lady's finger, which is a typical, very popular okra in India. We have not yet crossed it with any of the others. So it's still work in progress. So when it is dried up, it produces fruit that carries, the fruit carries a lot of grains that has been used in the past. In World War II, the grain that you get from okra was substituted for coffee. And we are looking at that potential in our research work. How can we use the grain produced by okra when it is dry for coffee? And we hope we'll be able to make some progress with this. And then the last crop is tiger nuts. Tiger nuts, this is what it looks like, the nut that they call it tiger nuts, but it is not actually a nut, it's a tuber. And we are developing this as a Rutgers golden tuber. And it is a cultivated type of nutsedge. Those of you who are familiar with yellow nutsedge in the field, this is the tiger nuts is a cultivated type of yellow nutsedge. It is called Cyperus esculentus, and the variety is sativus. That is the cultivated type. It is a rhizomatous and tuber producing perennial plant that people believe it originates from somewhere in Egypt, but it is now pretty popular in West Africa, in Spain, and in India. Spain is the largest producer of tiger nuts now in the whole world. And then the tuber is commercially called a nut. It is the part that is eaten raw as snack food, or processed into various forms. So what is important about tiger nuts? It's a high energy food. It is allergen free. It is rich in resistant starch, which nourishes the good bacteria in the digestive tract. The people in nutrition will call it prebiotic. It is the helpful fat. It has a very helpful fat profile. 73% monounsaturated fat, 18% saturated, 9% polyunsaturated. This is very close to what we have in olive oil. The tuber is also rich in oleic acid, phosphorus, potassium, vitamin C and E, which are very unique properties. This is what the plant looks like.
Albert,
yes.
I just wanted to interrupt you and let you know that we're at 12:10 and we go till 12:30. So just
okay. I will round up quickly. Yes. So the other things about tiger nuts is that we have different types now that we are promoting. The best one as a golden tuber, and these are the various products that you can find from you can get from tiger nuts. So now let me quickly use the next 5 minutes to talk about our work on internships in production and entrepreneurship agriculture. Why are we interested in this internship? We are particularly trying to see how we can get our young ones interested in production agriculture. The average the agricultural population in New Jersey is aging very rapidly. As of 2019, the average age of the people in agriculture who are actually engaged in production is about 60 years. And at Rutgers, we must inspire the younger generation to engage in practical agriculture to be able to feed the future. So what IPEA does, it satisfies the Rutgers SEBS Experience-Based Education credit. It also gives students the opportunity to practice and experience agriculture in real life. Some of our past interns engaged in direct field production. Some of them were also involved in planting, mechanized transplanting of some of our crops. And then these are some of the products that our students have generated over the years. Between 2014 and 2018, they came up with different products. Okra, very fast moving on the market. This is hydroponic tropical spinach, and this is field spinach. We also have habanero, different types. Then a student actually produced what we call a peachberry ketchup and the African garden egg. So all of these products, our students were involved in their production, and they take these materials to the market regularly to sell and gain experience on what is involved in marketing agricultural produce. So here we have very, I hope you can quickly run through what. Okay, lady, what do we have here today? I see Rutgers Amaranth, Amaranto, and I could see organic green, organic pink, green amaranth, pink amaranth. What is the difference in all of this?
So we are students working at one of the farms over here on Cook College, and we have grown our amaranth organically and conventionally, just to sort of compare the difference. And then also we have pink and green, which has a little bit of a different taste. The green tends to do well raw and cooked, where the pink is a little bit nicer cooked. And we also have it hydroponically grown over here as well too, to taste the difference and maybe even propagate your own plant as well too. Amaranth is the new super green. It's got calcium, iron, vitamin A, all of those good things. So if you're looking for something different as opposed to spinach or kale, this is your new super green. This is your new thing for all of the vitamins and the nutrition that you need if you love your leafy greens, or if you don't and you want to try it with something new. Yeah.
I've been coming to the New Brunswick Community Farmers Market a few times. This is my first time of seeing this. For how long have you been producing green and pink amaranth?
So we started in the beginning of June, and then we were able to harvest about the beginning of July from our fields. And we are adding crops as they become available. So amaranth is our first one, and then we will be adding okra, eggplant, and peppers to the mix. So we are a growing operation, so you'll have to come back and visit us.
I see. Now, what is the main attraction for these new crops that you are introducing to the market?
The main attraction?
Yes.
I think the main attraction for Amaranth is that it's a new crop. It's something that hasn't really been experienced very often in the public eye. I think that's something that will catch on as the new super green. I think that it's very, very healthy for you. As Rebecca was just saying, it has a lot of health benefits. It's very hardy. It's very easy to grow. And it's easy to cook too. It really just throw a few leaves in a pan if you want. Or as she was saying, eat the green. The green amaranth is great raw. I think it has a lot of potential.
And you can use it in things that you've already made. So if you make stir fry regularly, if you like, a wilted green to go with your pasta, if, we have different sort of recipes that we can provide for you so that you can know how to use it and then maybe be inspired to put it in your own dishes that you might make for your family.
It's a great compliment.
Yes, to complement vegetable.
I can see something unique here. It seems you separated your amaranth based on the color of the basket in which they are put inside. The green amaranth is inside a green basket.
Yes.
And the pink amaranth is inside a pink basket.
We did
that looks neat. And
the workers.
Yes.
So that we would know. Oh, pink. Oh, green.
I think that is a very good marketing strategy. From your own experience, have you tasted this amaranth?
I have actually. I cooked some up last night, as a matter of fact. I put it on pizza. Okay. So there's the good compliment. Yeah. It's great. It doesn't have an overpowering flavor. So really, if you want to mix something with it, I mixed it in with some garlic and some butter, and it was delicious.
Fantastic. So where I don't know if you are familiar with how spinach tastes.
I am. Yeah.
How would you compare the two?
They're very similar. For instance, I cooked the pink variety last night, and it tastes like spinach, but it's a little bit hardier too. I think that it has a more filling taste to it.
Yes.
Spinach can often be a little bit more bland, and this kind of had its own rich taste to it.
Yeah, I had Rebecca mention some of the qualities, the nutritional qualities. Comparing this with spinach, what would you say is outstanding in the amaranth compared with the common spinach that we run into in the groceries?
A lot of people think of vitamin K with spinach, where this is more of a calcium source, which is definitely really, really important for all different functions of your body, especially bone health and things like that. So while it offers vitamin K, it also offers you more with the calcium as well too. So
it has a host of benefits. One of the other big things I think amaranth has over other greens is that it has an amino acid called lysine in it. And lysine helps your body fight against malignant cells. So it's actually something that improves health against cancer.
Okay.
So, which is something unheard of. I think no other green really has that type of ingredient in it. It has that type of vitamin and nutrient in it. I think that just really helps it stand.
Yes, for I'm from Rutgers University myself, and we in the plant science area would like to see crops that will help us tackle some of the health-related problems. I mean, food-related health problems that we see. Do you see this amaranth having any significant role to play in dealing with obesity, high blood pressure, and other similar problems that we faced in the country?
Well, one of the things that we face as people is that we don't have enough food to feed everybody. So amaranth grows really easily and really quickly. So it's a quick nutritional way to get food to people. And I think if we educate people on how to eat correctly, and because it's easy to grow, it offers a lot of different varieties in vitamins and nutrients and things like that. I definitely think we can get it to people so that they can be healthier and feel better about themselves as well too, at a cost-effective level.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a very hardy plant. It's very drought resistant too. So it naturally an all-weather toad plant. It's very easy to grow.
Thank you so much. For today, I probably will buy some to take home and try and see, and I will give you a feedback on what my experience is with both the pink and the green amaranth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video clip. That is two of our interns sharing their experiences with producing amaranth. Very, very exciting to see them acquire so much knowledge about that crop in such a short time. So at the end of each year, we normally have what we call the Entrepreneurship Art Day, where the students display their experience in terms of showing posters and also giving an oral presentation. So here is what the experience looked like in 2017. And in 2018, the interns that won the award for excellence in internship are shown in this picture. Incidentally, all of them were ladies. Not a single guy was able to measure up to the competition that the ladies presented. We were particularly pleasantly surprised to see that the women were doing such an excellent job in the internship program. And then the summary, the major ethnic crops, including peppers, Roselle, tropical spinach, okra, and tiger nuts are adaptable to our growth condition in New Jersey. And the market opportunities for these ethnic crops is growing as the demographic continues to change in favor of higher demand. Internships in production and entrepreneurship agriculture has become an initiative that Rutgers students may use to obtain the experience-based education credit for graduation. And the IPEA program also addresses a key challenge in our future food security. It engages and inspires the younger generation in practical hands-on agriculture. And the more involved the younger generation is in agriculture, the more sustainable is our future food security. So this is the summary of what we have been doing, and we just want to acknowledge several people that have contributed to our studies over the past years. So
thank you very much.
Any questions?
Yes, we do have a few questions, Albert, actually. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so one person writes, I am interested in high yield, high nutrition crops. Do you have any specific crops that are relatively easy to manage that would grow in this climate? I am an avid home gardener with remarkable success and high yield for small space.
Beautiful. That is a very good question. We have among the ethnic crops, because that is the area where I have my own specialization. The highest yielding crops with almost very, very little management will be the tropical spinach. You plant them today, within 6 weeks, you start harvesting. And you can harvest as many times as the season will allow before they start producing a seed head. So my number one in terms of yield will be tropical spinach for leaf. And then the number two will be Roselle, also for leaf. You can produce Roselle for leaf outside in the field. It's relatively easy to grow. And it also grows pretty fast, not quite as fast as tropical spinach, but it's very high yielding and very little maintenance. You have to make sure that you remove the weeds. We haven't seen much insect attack, unlike in tropical spinach. After the first two harvests, insect population continues to build up, and you may start having insects eating the leaves. So if you are the one that you do not want any insect to bore a hole on your leaves, you would take a special precaution to control the insects. Most of the insects may be controlled by some of the bio insecticides that are available now. The neem oil is particularly effective against many of the common insects that may interfere with your tropical spinach. But Roselle So far, we have not really seen much of insect attack. So you can grow your Roselle without really worrying too much about the insect problem. There may be a few disease problems occasionally, maybe fusarium, root rot may occur, but that is not very frequent. So those are the two that will top the list in terms of high yield with very, very limited management attention requirement. There are other vegetables also, but I will give you these two as my top on the list.
Okay, so between Roselle and Amaranth, which would you recommend more?
Well, for Asians, the Roselle would probably be number one, because they are ready to pay almost any amount for the leaves for Roselle. But tropical spinach is not quite as expensive to them as Roselle is. So Roselle grows very, very well, and you can harvest up to 3 or 4 times before the fall season, but it's highly sensitive to cold. So if you are growing it outside, target your last harvest to about the middle of October or late October, if you are very fortunate in some years. And you just cut it back, and it produces new branches very, very quickly. Every 10 to 14 days, you go and harvest. And you can harvest as many times, 4, 5, 6 times before the season is over. So Roselle will be my first recommendation.
Okay.
It does not require much insecticide. It doesn't suffer from much pest problems.
Another question we have, do you know how bell peppers would compare to habanero peppers in terms of nutrients and elements?
Well, the major difference between the two is the fact that one contains capsaicin, that is the heat principle in the pepper, and the other one does not. The bell pepper has no heat. So any advantages that capsaicin brings to the pepper is fully experienced in the habanero, because they all have some heat level. They will be different from one particular cultivar to another cultivar. There are some very low heat, some intermediate heat, and then some with very high heat level. Capsaicin is known to help with arthritic pain. It is also known to have some values in managing some cancer, intestinal tract cancer problem. And when you are feeling cold, you just have a taste of habanero. The heat will drive away the cold as quickly as possible. So it has some unique advantages. I mean, the habanero has some unique advantages as a result of the capsaicin content that is absent in bell pepper. Otherwise, the other various values like vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E in some cases, they both the bell pepper and the habanero will have all of those, and probably the same left to the same level. But the major difference will be in the heat level, capsaicin in habanero. Okay.
Another question, where and when are your Rutgers green markets taking place this year? Do you have any information on that?
We usually patronize Rutgers what is now Cook's Market on Riders Lane. What is happening this year, we are not so sure yet because of the pandemic. We are really not sure of how much operation we can carry out. Otherwise, as time goes on, if everything frees up a little bit, we may be able to get a few interns to work with us. Then we will be able to carry some vegetables to Rutgers Garden, Cook's Market, and then New Brunswick Community Farmers Market is also another outlet for us. So we sell our ethnic vegetables in these 2 major markets: Cook's Market on Riders Lane and New Brunswick Community Farmers Market on I think it's Albany by George Street, downtown New Brunswick.
Great. Another question, has anyone tried drying the peppers to compare the taste and other values such as iron, zinc, and capsaicinoid levels?
Well, we usually dry our peppers before we run the analysis. We have analyzed most of our peppers in dried form. And we have some significant amount of information. We have not done the wet analysis for nutrients and other elements, other chemical elements. So I wouldn't be able to say much about how they compare, but what we have done is analyzing the dry sample, mixing both the seed and the cover and the skin and everything together. And on the basis of that, we are able to establish how much zinc is contained in the pepper, how much iron, how much other elements are there, and then the capsaicin content also. So we have some information on the analytical components of the peppers, dried pepper, not the fresh one.
Okay, another question. Where does a person acquire Amaranth and Roselle seeds?
If you need any of those, you can contact me. I think my email address, Mary may be able to give you my email address, or Brian may be able to give you my email address. If you need some Amaranth seed, we have some that will be very happy to share with our people in New Jersey. So contact me, I'll be able to get you some.
That's great. We can include your email in our follow-up email to all attendees if that's okay.
Right.
Now, one other question. I think this is probably going to be the last question we have.
Okay.
Are the Rutgers ethnic vegetables being sold in any food stores?
Well, we have some people who grow our peppers, especially Rutgers pumpkin habanero. I have been to Newark and some parts of Newark in northern New Jersey, and suddenly there I was looking at Rutgers pumpkin habanero. I was asking, where did the vendor get the habanero? He said, well, one of the growers brought the pepper to her store, and they found it very, very attractive. So they have it in their house. So I don't know specifically which farmers are growing all of these peppers. Our Amaranth will probably be going into the hands of some growers this year. Also, our Okra will be going into the hands of some growers this year. We already have our tiger nuts in the hands of a grower that we are collaborating with, and the other crops as well in the hands of growers all over the state. So specifically, I have a few names of farmers that have been growing some of the vegetables. One in Vineland, one in Stockton in Essex County, and a few other places. So yes, we have a few growers that are growing them in different places, but the particular marketing centers that they patronize, I do not know.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's all the time we have for questions. As I mentioned, we will be sending a follow-up email, which will contain the video as well as Dr. Ayeni's email address if you have any further questions for him. I'd like to thank everybody for having attended this event today. Mary, do you have anything to say in closing?
I want to thank you again, Albert. That was really fantastic talk. You're doing great work, and remind everyone that our last Science Cafe of the year is April 12th, also at 11:30. Devashish Bhattacharya will be talking about modern tools for modern problems, applying omics to coral reef conservation. So thank you all, and welcome back from spring break again, and hope to see you next month. And thank you again, Albert.
Thank you so much, everyone, and have a beautiful day.
You too.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Yeah.